everyone, my name is 𝙈𝙮𝙮, and thank you for joining me for this live Zoom. Today we've got a great show for you and a special guest that's coming in to talk to us about all her journey. But before we introduce you to our special guest, I want to take a moment out to thank everybody who has been involved with my Honey and Handsome retreats, our Footprint retreats, our one-day retreats, and our men's lines only mental health retreats who've been supporting me from day one. And that's Tim Okasar from Child Eyewear, who produce a premium quality sunglasses. If you're after a great pair of sunglasses, check them out on the website or on the internet. The other two people that I want to thank for all their support is everybody from Nimbus Health and Wellness Studios. They're in Bondi and they do some amazing treatments from ice baths, infrared saunas, massage, and all the other health and wellness services that they provide us with. They've been with me since day one for all our retreats. Thank you for your ongoing support. If you're in Bondi and you want to go in and check them out, pop in. I'm sure you're going to enjoy the experience. Also, finally, I wanted to thank everybody up at Up South Cafe, all the great chefs and cooks there and workers that produce all our healthy, nutritious meals, from the acai bowls, the detoxing smoothies, the healthy wraps. They've been supporting us from day one. Thank you for your ongoing support. If you're in Bondi and you're feeling a little bit hungry or peckish, pop in, have a bite to eat. I'm sure they'll satisfy your taste buds. But getting back to today's live Zoom, our special guest, Janis Merrill, who is a Mind Power coach. Thank you for joining us, Janis. How are you today?
Good, thank you. That was good to hear about all those people that have been positive in the community.
Yes, I've been working with some really like-minded people, and we've been able to facilitate all these retreats and programs together. Obviously, I've paid for everything, but I support them, they support me, and we provide such a great service for the community.
Beautiful.
But Janice, back to you. You've been up to so much stuff. You're so qualified with all your qualifications from NLP and all the other stuff, hypnotherapy, Reiki. We can talk about that as we go along. But can you tell us a little bit about your journey growing up before you got into this line of work? Just what you were doing as a child growing up, where you went to school, and anything else you want to share.
Yeah. So I grew up in country South Australia in Port Augusta. Two brothers, a sister, and my mum. I lost my father young, so I spent all my young life in Port Augusta, or a little bit in Port Pirie, but mostly in Port Augusta. Started my career as a dental nurse, believe it or not. I always had interest in alternative stuff, but in my age bracket, it's a little bit, people used to frown on it. So I left Port Augusta and I've travelled pretty well around Australia a couple of times, lived in different places. And it was when I first moved to Darwin, first or second time I moved to Darwin, that's where I took up my interest with Reiki. And then later I took up my interest with NLP. And that came about because I was working in a place where I was being targeted by somebody and I was always reacting rather than responding, and I didn't know how to deal with it. So I personally went to somebody and did NLP with them, which then made me realize I wanted to do more with my life than I'd been doing. And then I started studying and became a practitioner, master practitioner, trainer of NLP. And then I went on to study with Stephen Shea in America and become a Mind Power coach.
Geez, you've done a lot, Janice. Can you tell us a little bit about Reiki? What is Reiki for anybody watching? Because I think people still frown even today about certain things.
So Reiki is actually a universal energy. Every single person has that energy in their hands. And once you would get attuned to the Reiki attunement, Reiki 1, the heat in your hands becomes more prominent. So it is a very non-invasive, hands-on or just above treatment, and it helps with your mental health, it helps with your physical health. And it also, if somebody has an illness, it will aid that. It will help on the sideline. It's not going to take away that illness, but it's going to calm you and keep you in a good place while the other treatments are taking place. So it stands by. It doesn't always stand alone. You can use it on plants, cars, kids. You can quieten a room. There's many, many things you can do with it. Some people choose it because they don't like hands-on massage, so they still get that sort of relaxation. So yeah, so that's a little bit about what Reiki is.
It's very powerful. I know I was when I was living in New Zealand back in 2000 and from 1999 to 2005, there was a guy there that was doing Reiki, and I always enjoyed having his session. He was incorporating it with massage, but always enjoyed those sessions, really good, and walked out feeling like wanted to take on the world. But Janis, can you tell us a little bit about the work that you do now with all the different clients and the courses that you run?
Yeah, so, well, first, just quickly on Reiki, like I am actually going to be working out of Darwin in the next couple of weeks, teaching Reiki, but there's something that people don't realize. Reiki is a really good tool for mothers with their children. They can relieve headaches, they can keep them comfortable, and a lot of people don't realize it's cheaper than going to doctors to find out what's wrong. Not saying you don't go to a doctor if there's something seriously wrong, but it is a good tool. But the other things that my coaching business is called Janis Merrill Coaching. I actually have built a program called the 10-foot Tall Protocol. And that's not about the height, it's about the feeling inside. It's about people learning to step into their own power, and using Mindpower techniques, NLP techniques, timeline therapy, putting all of this together. It gives you this undeniable change in your life. A lot of people have been over-talked, or they don't have the confidence. They've been, in an essence, bullied, but people don't like that word, shut down when they talk. So that program is about stepping into your own power, becoming confident, learning how to communicate, and most of all, learning how to respond instead of react. Because when people are actually going people all the time, quite often people react and they don't take the time to respond. If you respond, you'll be heard. And this program teaches you to stand tall, to know who you are, to live in your own power. You'll feel lighter, in control of all of your outcomes. So that's my main program. I do also, as we know, teach Reiki. I work with past life regression therapy. That's an 90-minute session, just helping people that go back, because sometimes people don't realize the things that limit us aren't from yesterday. They're from times ago. They might be from a grandparent. They might be from 2 lives ago. So I work with that as well. And I have, ongoing coaching, of course, which that's designed for the people around each other. So that's pretty well where I'm at the moment. I used to do a lot of trainings, but mostly now I like to do little workshops so people can understand what it is I do in my bigger programs.
It sounds like you've been really busy. You've got so much going on with different communities, with your own work, with one-on-one stuff. I know that we were at on the weekend when we did a little bit of we did a course with Connor and Cullum. It was great to hear a lot of things that you had to share when we were on sitting at the table having lunch and catching up with everyone. Janis, can you tell us a little bit about what you love most about the work that you do?
Helping people, watching people change when they don't realize they can, watching people create a new life, because I'm sure that most of us as coaches have been somewhere where we are at one stage in our life thought we couldn't do something. So actually supporting people to become the best version of themselves and watching people stand up and walk out, you know, with this ability to master their communication and lead confidently is one of the most beautiful things you'll ever see. Watching people grow is just perfect.
And yeah, that's such a beautiful thing, as a coach, and even talking about sport or anything like that, people will come in and say to me, how good do you think this guy can be? Well, I always say, I hope that he becomes better than I ever was, because that's going to make me feel more empowered. There's no negative emotions from me or anything in that sense. I hope they become better than me. I hope they name better than me. I hope they learn better than me, because then I feel like I've fulfilled what I initially wanted to do. But some of you run some of these NLP courses and stuff. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I used to run trainings, and I don't particularly do that now, but I do, using all the NLP tools, I do run, workshops that around bullying. I also will work with families so that everybody's on the same page, because if a child's being targeted or something's happening to them, let's be honest, nobody is ever 100% innocent. So things, we all have a part in it. So I do, the circle of bullying, and I just do little webinar things with people so they can understand, what part we play in anything that happens to us, because if we're not at cause in our life, we'll be in effect, and that's not a good place to live, as you and I both know. So, and the other trainings I do are predominantly around Reiki, and I do actually, I travel, obviously, because I live in Adelaide and I'm going to Darwin to train, but I quite often get asked to go to places, which I think is an honour to be asked by people to go and train them.
For sure.
And I'm open to traveling around Australia to train people in Reiki. Yeah.
Amazing. It sounds like fun, to go to different places, see different faces, and just explore, and be able to share your knowledge with others.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because there's two different parts, isn't it? Like, one's more spiritual and one that you've got to do the work. Nothing comes to you easy. You have to do the work. Changes. So it is an easy thing to do, change, but you have to be committed and you have to work at it. And that's where mind power comes into it, where, mental toughness and emotional resilience come together.
I'm going to go a little bit off track here, Janice, and ask you a little questions. And as a parent, and you're a grandparent, a grandmother, and as a parent myself, even though I only have two children, I'm a father, I'm a husband, and I think this is an important topic to talk about, and I thought I'd just throw it out there. What do you think are some of the most common problems that you see with dysfunctional behavior throughout families with their children, and what's going on in society today?
Because one of the biggest things is that people aren't on the same page. Now, I saw a thing on Facebook the other day. I wanted to reply, but I didn't. So we're telling children to be polite, courteous, not to fight, don't, bully people, etc., etc. But then a parent will say, oh, this child hit my child, so I'm going to go and whack him. So that's not congruent with what you're wanting your child to be. So in essence, that's very dysfunctional, to think that an adult can go and have a go at another child or tell their child to punch back. It's not, I know people think that, oh, well, I'm not going to tell my child to stand there and take it. No, you don't. This is why you need to teach your children how to communicate effectively. But first, the adults need to learn how to communicate effectively.
I think you're spot on with that, Janice. I know that when I first met my wife, my father said to me something, and it was a really deep conversation. He said to me, son, are you ready for this? And I said, Dad, I'm single, man. I'm as ready as I could ever be, And I've been with her long enough, and it's, I'm not getting any younger, I'm 36 years of age, and this is it, And And he said, yeah, like, he said, you don't understand, son. This is a black woman you're going with, you're going to marry to. Are you really ready for this? And I said, yeah, Dad, I love her, right? And I had no idea what he was referring to. I had some idea, and it wasn't until the kids came back from school and they were called the N-word or called a monkey or something like that,
Oh,
that I really blew up. And I realized then, in referring to what you said to me about not go out and hit kids and stuff like that, I went and spoke to the headmaster and stuff like that. And I just think that um, that sort of mind pollution is just not warranted. It's just not needed anywhere.
yeah.
Whether it's a young girl that said it because she's trying to get attention, whether it was a young boy that did it. And I think education is so important. I know back in the days, back in America, the slaves were counted by the slave master touching their head, like their furry
Mm.
head, like touching sheep, right? And I had a couple of Asian students doing that to my son. And I confronted them after school one day when they came out. There was four of them, and I said to them, guys, just I know, like Jaden tells me that you guys are touching his hair all the time, and it's very disrespectful because in African American culture, this is how the slave masters used to count the slaves. I prefer you don't do that. If you want to talk to him, just tap him on the shoulder. Don't just run up to him and touch his hair and make fun of it because he's got an afro or nappy hair. I'm sure he doesn't make fun of your eyes or your background or your cultures. And I just left it at that. Um, but I think today, it's not about being super sensitive in that, but it's just being educated about
Yeah.
different, and I don't think we are here.
We haven't got there yet. We're getting better. Because we are multicultural and we can't live without each other. We all bring something to the table. Even back, even if you go back to when my father's mother and that came to Australia, their family, they were Italian, and we weren't allowed to learn it because you had to pretend you weren't. So it's really degrading that people do that to each other because we're all equal. And the fact is, when people do things like call your son those names, they're derogative. What are they learning at home? Because yes, kids do learn stuff in the playground, but kids don't learn that because children don't see the difference unless it's pointed out to them by an adult.
Yeah, I think we set the tone from an early age. You have the imprint period, you have this the development period, and you have the socializing period. And it's during those periods at home, the people that hold authority, whether it's our soccer coaches, our sporting coaches, our school teachers, but mainly our parents and families and relatives that really hold a huge impact on how we become customized. And that in essence obviously shows with a child. But Janice, what other great things do you have planned for the future this year with all the work that you're doing?
Well, first I have to get through Darwin because that's quite a big trip. Then I'm going to be launching a new program, which I'm just still playing with the final details, so I don't want to announce that yet. And I'll be heading off to Western Australia to do a bit of work. So
That's crazy.
next year, the world's my oyster. We'll just have to wait. Things are unfolding. I'm doing a lot of one-on-one, and the good part about that is because they are online, I can take them to wherever I go to do the live work.
That's amazing. I think that's a great thing about the internet today and the day we live, the day and age. We're able to do Zoom calls like we are doing now. You're in um, Western Australia,
Oh,
correct?
I'm in Adelaide now. I'll be in Western Australia.
Sorry,
Yeah,
you're in Adelaide, and I'm here in beautiful Bondi Beach, and
I know.
chop it up together. Janice, just wanted to find out, like, if there's anybody out there that wants to look back and catch up with you, learn a little bit more about Reiki and the great work and programs that you run, how do they get in contact with you? Your social media, your website, or business?
So my social media is Janis Merrill Coaching, and I do have a website, Janis Merrill Coaching. You can go on there, send me a message, and I can get back with them. So it's JANIS MERRILL coaching. And I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and you can get me on my website.
There you go, everyone. We've just had it. Janis share with us all the contact details of how you can get in touch with her with all the great services that she provides. She's got a wealth of knowledge and she's studied so many different things like hypnotherapy, NLP. She's a Reiki master. This woman is such a lovely lady. I've had the pleasure of being able to spend time with her for a whole weekend, and I think we couldn't stop laughing every time we saw each other. Something to laugh about, wasn't it?
It
But
was a great weekend.
yeah, it's great to get the chance to sit down on, face to face and do a live Zoom with you, chop it up with you, and find out what you've been up to. And I really look forward to catching up with you in person, Janice. Next time there's a course, or next time you're about in this area and about.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. To everybody watching this, remember next week we've got a special guest coming in. Look out for details as I'll be posting all the details and Zoom link on social medias. If you do have any questions, don't forget you can email me at ynvhealthandwellness@hotmail.com or simply call us on 0402 622 662. Now, I've got some really important news to share with you. Over the past 18 years, I've been the owner of Bondi Boxing Gym here in Bondi Beach, Sydney, Australia. Unfortunately, my dad's been diagnosed with cancer again. It's come back, and I've had to make the tough decision of selling my boxing gym to my gym manager. So as of today onwards, I no longer own Bondi Boxing Gym. I'm now operating, working at the Waverley Council, running classes for them. I'm running classes at the youth centre, helping with kids at the North Bondi Ways Youth Centre. Also running some classes at other fitness gyms, at Snap Fitness and at PCYC Boxing at Daiseyville. If you want to learn more about what I do and what I'm doing right now, you simply give us a call on my phone number, which I've given you before. Otherwise, I'm really looking forward to seeing you next week on our live Zoom, where we'll have another special guest from another part of the world talking and sharing a little bit about their journey. From me, Maydad at Bondi Beach, Sydney, Australia, and Janice in Adelaide, have an amazing day, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.